All right, we're going to do a blend that's going to blend these columns or these beams together that are in the top of this guy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my east elevation, which is where I imported the outline for the walls. And I'm actually going to delete that, unpin it and delete it. And I'm going to re-link it. So let's go to and click open, and I'm going to not check current view only. I'm going to not restrict it to that view. All right, so it'll bring that guy in. And I got a couple of things. I've got the beams that are there, and then I've got a line that I'm going to use a little later for the adaptive components. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my floor plan, and I'm going to mirror that I just brought in here. So I'm going to hover and tap the tab key until I see the elevation drawing come up, and left click. I'm going to unpin it. I'm going to go to mirror, and I'm going to mirror it around this horizontal center reference plane. And then I'm going to go to my 3D view, and I should be able to see that in 3D, both of them. So there they are, right? So lining up with the walls, just two different versions. And I'm going to go ahead and, for this guy, I'm going to pick the wall. I'm going to pick the drawings and the other wall. Let me see if I can get that other drawing. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to isolate those. So I'm going to come down and go to isolate element. And now I just have those three things, the wall and then those two pieces. So in order to make a blend, I need to go from one side to the other. So obviously the high side is going to have this one on the top, and the low side is going to have the one on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to architecture, and I'm going to set, or actually let's just go ahead and start the blend, and then we'll set the reference planes. So I'm going to go to component, model in place, and these are going to be structural framing. So you can use structural framing if that's okay with you, and I'll click OK. And we'll name it structural framing 1. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to set, and I'm going to pick a plane. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to pick this plane right there. You could also set a reference plane current if you have a current reference plane, which that would be my right reference plane. So I could also go in and pick R for right, and it will set on that. If I show where the reference plane is, it's going to show where that reference plane is. So that reference plane is actually a little deep. So maybe I'll just use the pick to set with, because I want it on the inside of that wall. So I'll pick there. Now, once I've done that, I can come in and I can go to my create, and I can create a blend. And it's going to start with one end of the blend. And what I want is on this side, I want that top circle. So I'm going to go to pick line, and I'm going to hover over that circle. I'm going to have to get kind of close to it. And you see how it's projecting onto that wall? And if I left click, because that plane is current, it will project that onto the wall. All right. So once I'm done with that guy, I'll go to modify, and I'll go to edit top. And I'm going to spin around and set my other wall as current working plane. So I'll go to set and pick plane and click OK, and then set that as my current plane. Then I'll go to pick again, and now I want the bottom circle, and it's going to project to that wall. See how it's projecting? Now, if all is right with the world, I can hit check, right? And it will pull that thing out. Now, for some reason, I don't know why it does it. It seems like it should go from one place to another pretty easily, but it offsets. And so you can just use these little blue, alignment things to get it to the right place, or you could use the align command, right, to get them. So if I go to align with that, it'll align it in there, right? And if I align, see if it'll give me that. And I go to finish model, right? Now I've got a blended column that goes in there. So you would have to repeat that for each column, all right, or each beam, excuse me. All right, so for that'll take you a while. For the next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an adaptive component to put these in, and we'll talk a little bit about that. All right.